Today we are going to check out the Razer Basilisk V3, and if you have watched any of my Logitech mouse reviews, you would know how I really cannot use any mouse that doesn't have a free spinning scroll wheel, but this is exactly what Razer has added in this new V3 version, so this has become a very serious contender for the best gaming mouse that can also be used for productivity. Hey guys, I am Siddharth and we are of course going to compare it with the Logitech G502, but we are also going to compare it with the MX Master 3 because you may be surprised at how this can actually also replace this. The Basilisk V3 is unquestionably a very good looking mouse, even though it looks really very close to the design and shape of the G502. The V3 version adds more individually addressable RGB zones on this mouse, and I really appreciate the clever implementation of the RGB strip that gives this a really cool underglow effect instead of being in your face. You can really apply all kinds of effects on this RGB in individual zones and can set different effects for different profiles. I would consider this to be a big mouse. I have a 19cm long hand and this mouse really fills it well enough for me to be able to palm grip it, but you can also claw grip it without a problem, and this is actually a really versatile shape. The plastics on this mouse are really nice and grippy, and it also has rubber coatings on the sides which keeps things comfortable. The cable is a paracord type which offers very free movement, and it also doesn't look like a shoelace, which is the case with some mice. The primary buttons are very large and very clicky, and they can be easily clicked from any point. These have Razer's 2nd gen optical switches, and I think that some earlier version of these was not very clicky, but these 2nd gen ones are really great and they feel very clicky and tactile. The switches on this mouse are a really big selling point for me because even though I don't care a lot about how these switches can give you slightly lower latency, what I really care about is how these optical switches shouldn't start double clicking like Logitech's mice, which frequently fail within 6 to 12 months. I have only been using this mouse for a month now, so I am not sure if these will also fail in the long term, but at least I wasn't able to find reports of these optical switches double clicking, while the internet is filled with people sharing how their Logitech mice started double clicking, and all of my Logitech gaming mice also face these issues. The scroll wheel is another of the main reasons that I would get this mouse. It offers a regular ratcheting mode, and you can also switch this to a free spinning mode like Logitech mice. I have been waiting for something like this for a long time now because I really cannot use any mouse without this feature for general things like web browsing and video editing. You can switch between these modes with a click of a button behind the scroll wheel, but because this system is electronic, you can set any of the buttons as the switch, and you can also program this button to do anything else. This also allows you to switch to different modes depending on the active profile, so when you launch any game, this can automatically switch to a ratcheting mode, and all these things are not possible with the G502. It even offers a smart shift feature which switches to a free spinning mode if you scroll it fast, which is something that you find in Logitech's MX Master series and not in their gaming mice. Another really great thing about this scroll wheel is its tilt functionality. In addition to using this for horizontal scrolling, you can also use the left and right tilt as extra buttons, but the thing that sets it apart from the G502 scroll wheel is that this tilt function is very usable and easy to use, while on the G502 it was a bit awkward to use, so I didn't use it a lot on the G502, but on the Basilisk V3 this is really very usable and I really like it for doing things like switching tabs in browser. One difference between this wheel and Logitech's wheels is that this isn't made of metal because they wanted to keep the weight low. It doesn't have the same inertia like the metal scroll wheels, so it's not as satisfying to use as the metal scroll wheels in the free spinning mode, but still, once you get used to it, it is completely fine and it does keep spinning when you flick it. In ratcheting mode, the steps also feel very tactile, while on the G502 and on MX Master 3, they can feel a bit mushy. The extra buttons on this mouse are also placed very well. The side buttons are very easy to reach. There is a sniper button that lowers the DPI by default, and then there are 2 more buttons on the top for changing DPI and changing the scroll wheel mode. Finally, there is also a button at the bottom for changing profiles. The great thing about these buttons is that all of them can be assigned different functions or macros too, including the tilt clicks of the scroll wheel and even the profile changing button at the bottom. Do give this video a thumbs up if you are liking it so far. The Razer Synapse software is quite functional and it allows you to easily customize the functions and lighting on the keys, including macros, and you can really set all kinds of things on all of the buttons on this mouse quickly, which I really appreciate. It has the ability to switch profiles depending on which app or game you're using, which makes it great for productivity too. You can even set one of the buttons as a hypershift modifier, which means that you can press it in combination with any other button on the mouse, which gives you access to 12 extra functions, even though it is not physically possible to press any of the two buttons easily. It also allows you to store these profiles on 5 onboard memory slots, so you can use them without the software and switch between them with the button underneath. You can set the lift-off distance on this mouse from 1mm to 3mm, and you can also calibrate the sensor manually to your mousepad. The software allows you to select how many steps you want to have for changing DPIs, and you can even set different DPI levels for X and Y axis, which is something that I saw for the first time. One thing I disliked a bit is that the software needs different modules to be installed that together take up a lot of memory. The Basilisk V3 has Razer's Focus Plus optical sensor that can run at 26,000 dpi, which is stupidly high. It is very well suited for gaming, so you shouldn't face any issues with tracking or it spinning out. Now, because this mouse weighs 101 grams, some people may not find it to be as good as the ultralight gaming mice, especially if you are very serious about competitive gaming, but it is a big mouse and it also has really nice PTFE feet underneath it that let it glide very smoothly on your mousepad, so I don't think that you will be at a serious disadvantage when using this instead of some super light mouse. This is also 20 grams lighter than the G502, which is a serious difference, and for a mouse that can also be used for productivity with a free spinning scroll wheel, I think that this is quite light. It also has more extra buttons compared to a typical gaming mouse, which I also find to be very useful when playing games. Now, if we compare this to the Logitech G502, I really think that the Basilisk V3 easily wins. It is a significantly lighter mouse that is more usable for gaming. It has that scroll wheel that made the G502 special. Its software is easy to use than Logitech. The cable is better, and this hopefully shouldn't fail in less than 1 year like both of my G502s. The G502 does come at a lower price and it does have extra 2 buttons on its side, but after going through 2 of these, I really don't think that I can recommend this. If the switches on the G502 didn't fail so easily, then it could have been an easier recommendation. But this gets really interesting when you compare it to the MX Master 3, because even though the MX Master 3 is hailed as the best productivity mouse, and it is that in many ways, the polling rate of just 125Hz makes this feel way less responsive than the Basilisk V3, and the Basilisk is also a much lighter mouse and its software also works as reliably as the MX Master 3, so you can actually also use this very well for productivity. Now, the MX Master 3 does have some things going for it, like a more comfortable shape, better materials, a metal side-scrolling wheel, a sensor that works on glass, and better integration with Adobe software, but the Basilisk V3 can mostly replace the MX Master 3 if you don't need a Bluetooth wireless mouse. So in conclusion, I have to say that if you are looking for a mouse that you can use for gaming and for productivity, then I really don't think that there is an option that is better than the Razer Basilisk V3. It has all the features that made the Logitech mouse great for me without their negatives. Its shape is great, the optical buttons are really nice, its free spinning wheel works really well, its extra buttons are easy to use, its software works extremely well, it looks great, and it performs really well at gaming. The price for it is around $100 or 7,500 rupees in India, which can be a little steep for some, but considering how unique the feature set it offers is, I think that it is worth it. If I had to nitpick, I would say that they could have reduced the weight a little more by having less RGB on it, and the software could also consume less RAM, but these are very minor things overall. So I'll have links to check this out in the video description. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it or a thumbs down if you disliked it. Subscribe with bell. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.